Hey gang, this is John Newton, Snap-on John 100, and I am down in my basement again. I've got another project going, and I just thought I would let you see what I'm doing. Yesterday, I bought this grease pot at Walmart. Really like it a lot. It would be a great camping implement, but what I bought it for was to heat beeswax on the stove. And what I did was I heated beeswax on the stove. I used 1 pound of beeswax. I'm making a waterproofer that is what you'd call like for waxed cotton to waterproof canvas and other things. So the recipe for that is 1 pound of beeswax to 1 cup of linseed oil, boiled linseed oil, and 1 cup of turpentine. So it's a cup of turpentine, a cup of linseed oil, and 1 pound of beeswax. You heat the beeswax slowly on the stove, making sure you pay attention and watch it, and then keep stirring it up until it's completely dissolved or melted. And once it's melted, then slowly pour in the cup of turpentine. I would recommend turpentine first because it's a diluter. And so you stir in, slowly pour, but keep stirring the beeswax while you're pouring the turpentine in, and then after that's in, keep stirring it up, and then get the cup of boiled linseed oil and slowly pour that in while you're stirring that, and then you stir it up really not vigorously, but you stir that up really well, and then take it off and just let it sit, and it will solidify. It's like a paste thing, like that. So the one of the reasons I didn't show that because there's a lot of videos on making this stuff online, and it's just kind of boring watching somebody do that part. So I made that ahead of time. What I want to recommend though is go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy an empty paint can. You can buy empty paint cans, and you get a wooden stirring stick from them for free. And the paint cans I think are $4.95 if I'm not mistaken. That's a better choice. I thought this would be easier to heat on the stove. It's easier because it's aluminum, but this stuff really stinks really badly, and there's no real good way of sealing this up. With the paint can, you put the lid on and it's sealed up because you want to make it in the paint can and then store it in the paint can. So take my advice and use a paint can instead of something like this. Well, the other things I'm using for this project, I'm using rubber gloves, and since I'm inside in the basement, I'm going to be using a respirator. I would recommend doing this outside, but it's more of a job or project to do when it's mild outside. And so since it's like probably in the teens right now, I'm going to be doing it inside, and I'm going to be using a respirator. The two things I'm going to start with, one is my haversack that's canvas. It's already waxed. I'm just going to re-wax it. The way you do this is you smear it on, just smear it on, and then take a hair dryer and heat it up, and it soaks in. Once it melts, it sucks right into the fibers and locks in. The other thing I'm going to be doing is my backpack, and this is experiment. I don't know how well this will work because this is nylon, and I think this will work on it, but I'm not positive because nylon is has slippery fibers. So I just thought I'd try this anyway to see, because it's nice to have your backpack waterproof so the water sheds off of it. So that's the other thing I'm going to be doing, and I think if I like the way it turns out, I will wax my Carhartt jacket so that it becomes a waterproof jacket. So stay with me. I'm going to be wearing a respirator, so I'm not really going to be talking, but I just wanted to let you see how I'm applying this. once you see how I'm applying it, then I'll cut everything off, and then I'll bring you back when I'm using the hair dryer and show you how heating it up and how it sucks in. And then I'll show you the final finished product. Stay with me. Alright, here's the finished product. Now, you wouldn't put this much on. This is a little excessive, but the this stuff stinks so badly that I had it outside, and that's why I suggested doing it in a paint can so you can seal it up. So this was harder to put on than it should be. It should be a lot softer than it was. So this is like really too much. You're not going to see giant, you know, well, like a place like that, you want to have it a lot less than that, but because it's so cold, I ended up having to put extra on. So what I'm doing now is you want to use either a heat gun, or I'm going to use a hair dryer, and I'm just going to quickly show you what it does when you heat it, and then I'm going to cut it off because for sure you don't want to see me doing that for too long. It's going to be noisy too. Alright, I don't know if you can see that, but where it's heated, right here in the center, that's what it's going to start looking like. It'll bleed in. I'm going to rub this on the backpack downstairs because this is way too much and it's having trouble soaking in. So definitely let the paste warm up so that you don't have this much on there, because that's going to be a problem for me. So I'm going to rub this as hard as I can, vigorously on my backpack to try to transfer most of it off. Now what I'm doing is I'm heating it and rubbing a paper towel on it. What you do is you heat it until you see it obviously melts and liquefies, and then just rub the excess off. This is definitely too much on there. As you can see, what I'm left with is the perfect amount. So it's like even. So it doesn't matter if you get too much on as long as you wipe off the excess. Okay, so I'm just going to continue doing that, and I'll show you when it's done what the final thing looks like. Okay, the finished product looks just like this. I hope it's showing the detail. Let me move the camera to make sure. There we go, that's better. But the lights, natural lighting. Here's the finished product. I hope that's showing up. It's a nice dark olive color, which is really attractive to me anyway. There we go. I definitely made a lot more work for myself. Having too much on there is not an issue because you can always wipe it off. You just need paper towels, a heat gun, and a little patience. But you heat it up and then let it soak into the paper towel because there was too much material on the cotton the cotton canvas to absorb into it. So I had to absorb the excess into a paper towel. But this thing now is going to be like a bucket. But the nice thing about it is I like to keep tinder and other materials like that I want to keep dry in here, so it was really important for me to have this to be really waterproof. So this turned out great. Once again, use it sparingly. Just the key is don't use the do not use the stuff when it's really cold. That was my mistake, it was too cold. So I'm just going to let that heat up so I can put it on my backpack, and I will show you the finished product of that when I'm done with that. Okay, my pack is done. So I'll have to let you know if that was a good idea or not. It's nylon, and I don't see why it wouldn't help, but because I've heard of other people using this stuff on their tents when they start getting leaks in their tents. So those are nylon tents, so I think this will be okay, but I just want to see how this works, carrying it around, see if it stays dry, see how the water beads off of it and stuff. And I'll let you know. Thanks for coming along on this little experiment in waterproofing. Once again, it's 1 pound of beeswax, 1 cup of turpentine, and 1 cup of boiled linseed oil. The other things I learned is you want to make sure that the final product is it doesn't have to be warm, but it needs to be room temperature, so it's a lot moister, so it goes on easier, because I did have issues with getting way too much on my haversack and then going through and having to rub it off, and I had to go through it like 3 times. So it turned out great, but it was a lot of work. the pack, I just put on a little more sparingly and let it soak in how it would, and so hopefully that'll work out okay. And if all works out real well, then, and I have the energy, I will waterproof my Carhartt jacket. Once again, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and give me your comments if you've tried this, and let me know what you've thought about it. And as always, God bless.